All right, there it is.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Benjamin E. Mays High School Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noted. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team. Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of the Benjamin E. Mays High School Go Team to order at 5:10 p.m. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Principal Garner,
Present.
Aquandra Morris, Kaya Boss, Siobhan Brown,
Present.
Sonia Lewis,
Present.
Rejoice Jones,
Present.
myself, Kimberly Jenkins, and Tamar Eccles.
I'm here.
Thank you.
All right, this team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Ms. Jenkins, is there a quorum present?
Yes, there is a quorum present.
All right, our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you all. Are there any changes to the agenda? And may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
I second that. This is Ms. Brown.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. All right, great. We will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections? If there are no further corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
This is Ms. Lewis. I make the motion that the minutes be accepted.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Our first action item is the budget approval. However, we will do that after the final presentation. So we will now move to the discussion items on our agenda. Mr. Garner.
All right, good evening, everyone. We are at our final stage. We're taking a journey to get here for our budget approval. And so, next slide, talk more about it. So for budget approval, as you can see, it says what during this meeting, Go Teams will review the budget, which should be updated based on feedback from the staffing conference, which I've had associate superintendents and key leaders. After review, Go Teams will need to take action, i.e. vote on the fiscal year 25 budget. Why? Principals will present the final budget recommendations for Go Team approval, and then when all approval meetings must be held after staffing conferences, which I've had my budgets must be approved by March 15th. That's this Friday. All right, so here we go. Let's dive in. All right, again, here are our priorities that we voted on and put them in, positions that we wanted them to be. So it's retain and continue to develop high performance faculty, build teacher capacity to support and increase and mastery for students. We want to strengthen the implementation of International Baccalaureate. We want to use flexible learning tools, technology integration, and target instruction to personalize learning for all students. Next slide. Is that okay? The next one is implement whole child systems of support that integrate social, emotional learning behavior, wellness, and comprehensive academic intervention plans. We want to provide wraparound services to address the academic, emotional, and behavioral needs of students. We want to increase milestone scores and then increase our graduation rate. All right. And these were the priorities. We wanted to increase parental engagement. That was through the whole child and some of the strategies that went with that. Next. So here's what we did with our budget. And at my staffing conference, these were approved. So remember, we created, well, we didn't create, we were able to keep our, we were able to keep our positions that were funded through CARES and bring those back into the general fund. So we're fortunate to be able to do that. That included 2 social studies teachers and 2 ELA teachers. We did add 4 behavior specialists, 1 per grade level. Again, we want to model the model that we have on the 9th grade with the behavior specialist and the assistant principal, as opposed to having the model teacher leaders. So we are adding 3 additional behavior specialists along with Ms. Brown. Instructional coaches were on 202 days, which did not allow them to be at the school before teachers got here for pre-planning purposes. I think it's very important that my instructional coaches are here to plan and get ready for the school year and be prepared for teachers when they come in. We are adding 1 math teacher, and then we were adding a turnaround special education interrelated teachers. Again, we did end up on the state list for ATSI. And so my strategy or our plan to address that is to add more special education quality teachers, which will lessen the class sizes and lessen the amount of caseloads that the special education teachers will have, which should equate to more, personalized learning for our individual students. The positions we removed were the master teacher leader positions. We had 4 initially. We abolished those to be able to create behavior specialists and help get our most at-risk students more attention and get our discipline numbers down. We had to remove a PE teacher. We had 5 PE teachers, which we didn't need that many. And so we were able to add a math teacher, which is a content area that we need more support in. And then again, those reading teachers who were formerly not really removed, they're not going to be funded through CARES. We are adding them back on through our general budget. Summary of changes. Again, we are integrating formerly funded CARES position into our general budget to maintain the benefits of keeping classroom sizes as small as possible. And I just told you we're adding a behavior specialist for each grade level, which will allow us to better address behavior concerns and provide greater caseload management for our most at-risk students. The instructional coaches work year change will allow them to return earlier in the year to better pre-plan and prepare for upcoming academic year. And then additional math and IR teachers will lessen class sizes and caseloads. All right, there was 1 staffing conference change. That change was initially we were adding a SEL coach, but we are changing that to restorative practices coach, which is a change of about $11,145. Because of what we want this restorative practice coach to be able to do, which is open a center that's similar to the Den at Young, and then also manage our care team, which the coordination of that team has not been what my expectations are as it relates to making sure that the right people have caseloads and that we're monitoring that for effectiveness. And And so with that, the restorative practices, the recommendation was to have a restorative practice coach. That work would be more aligned in what I'm looking for in that position, or what we're looking for in that position. Any questions about that? Okay. All right. Here are our final projections, and our final budget numbers. All right. Next slide. As you can see, here's our circle graph of how our funds were spent. Of course, instruction, that's all of the human capital, takes up 68%. Pupil services is 12%. Improvement of instructional services, instructional staff, training, media services, school administration, maintenance, operations, and transportation.
I just have a quick question about transportation. Remember, and maybe hopefully I'm not speaking about another school, but remember there were like the county was doing like some changes to the buses, and because of the changes to the buses, there were either going to be more access to transportation or less access. I don't see transportation on here at all. Is there like an update? And also the reason why I asked is because I feel like transportation is like one of the #1 barriers to students being able to intern, volunteer, all the different things. So any like updates on like what the county or what, we're doing about transportation as it pertains to like the budget?
Yeah, so we allocate funding for transportation. This is all predicated too on like our enrollment, hitting the numbers that we needed to hit, because essentially what the district does is set aside funds for kind of hold back funds that you can't touch unless you hit your enrollment numbers, and it's pretty much there to protect you, because if you don't hit your projected enrollment, you're going to lose funds, which could equate to staffing. And so transportation, we know we have transportation every day to school for our kids, and getting back and forth to school. Essentially what this means is our extra needs for transportation, Saturday school, after school tutorials, things of that nature, which we will have. And I'll have to move funds around when that time comes. But to start out the year, I need to make sure that I have, these.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And just for clarification, doesn't the county like offer a certain amount of allocation of funds, like default for some of the things, or is just all coming from the enrollment budget?
The extra things will come from the enrollment budget. So the district takes care of the regular transportation,
Right.
like to and from school.
Right.
But the additional things, just based off what a school may need. I may be at a school that doesn't need a Saturday school, so
Right.
we wouldn't have to use money for that. For us, we will need that, right?
Yeah.
Night school transportation. So the extra
Yeah.
things comes from the school budget.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Next. All right, and we're just talking about the reserve funding. So we have over 200,000 in reserves. Again, if we have to hit the 1,378 students. So, how would I plan on using those funds, or how would we? Not I. We want to retain and continue to develop our faculty. So one of the things that I like to do that's worked for me in the past are these attendance stipends for staff. Want to reward our teachers for coming in and doing the hard work that we do every single day. So that would be one way that I would like to use the reserve funds. And then also, when we talk about flexible learning tools and technology integration, really centered around personalized learning, right? And how can we do personalized learning even at a better rate or better level? And so the remaining funds I would like to use in that area. Again, this is holdback funds when we hit our projected enrollment number. Any questions about that? Okay. Other priorities: increase graduation rate. And we just spoke about this. That's night school, after school tutorials, funding transportation for students to be able to get here and not have transportation be a barrier. And then we want to build teacher capacity to support and increase mastery for students. So our signature program, which is IB, want to make sure that our teachers are trained and they get to travel and do all of the training that they need to do to make sure that we're doing the, International Baccalaureate properly. Next. Our school's priorities from our strategic plan reflected in the budget. All right, so our new positions and our resources included in the budget to address our major priorities. Do we know as a team the plan to support implementation of these priorities beyond the budget? What strategies will be implemented? And what trade-offs are being made in order to support these priorities? And then how are district and cluster priorities reflected in our budget? Our cluster priorities were staff, materials, etc., dedicated to supporting our cluster's priorities. Our signature programs with staff, materials, etc., are dedicated to supporting our signature program. And are these positions our school will share with other schools, nurse, counselor? So going back up to the top, some of our priorities are around, high quality, right? Maintaining, sustaining, and training our teachers. What strategies are we using as it relates to that? So I think, in our budget, not losing those 4 teachers in CARES funding, and making sure that we keep those teachers, to keep our class sizes where they are, is going to be super important when we talk about, the whole child, which is one of our priorities. The behavior specialist position speaks directly to that, because we do have our suspension rate is one of the highest in the district. And so we have to, build closer relationships with individuals who are skilled in that area. I think that it does our teachers a disservice when we're asking our teachers to teach, counsel, mediate, the whole 9. We're fortunate to be able to have support staff, and we have to make sure that, those students are being attended to by professionals who specialize in those areas. I think the same thing with the restorative practices. Students here at Mays are receiving those specialized services through the den at Young Middle School, and then there's a drop-off when they get to high school when they probably need it the most. And so we have to I think it's important that we continue that work when those students get to high school. I think, when we talk about, the quality of instruction, we have 4 instructional coaches. When we talk about our IB program, we have 2 IB specialists. So that's definitely putting our money where our mouth is, and they are working hard to make sure that we receive the IB certification. But not only that, I think IB is a great way to teach. It speaks to engagement. And so we want to train our teachers on how to be more engaging through the lens of International Baccalaureate. So I'm excited about the work that they're doing and how they're supporting it. Something that we've been trying to get for 5 years now, 7 years, something like that, Ms. Smith? 6 years. So this year would be the year that we get it. Before this year is out, right, Ms. Smith? Got it. Rejoice, did you have something?
Well, yeah, I mean, if this is an open discussion, I just wanted to say, I love the push for incentives for teachers. I think teachers should be making 6 figures or more. Any other place you go, whether you're going to the Middle East, teachers are esteemed. And I think the more we push more of our budget to incentivizing teachers as skilled, highly skilled professionals that we need to do a great job, I think not sure if we could be like the model for like the county or the state, but I think getting closer as much dollars as we can to push towards teacher salaries is like a very high priority that I'm just really happy, Principal Garner, that you never have lost sight of that, because that is talent. And in the global talent workforce, like I would hire teachers before I would hire anyone else, because I just know how much skill they come with. And so I just love the fact that the budget reflects continually pushing dollars towards teacher incentivizing teachers, but also like recruiting great teachers, because they're going to be backed by a budget and like a principal and a staff that appreciates that. So do y'all
Yeah.
teachers feel that way? Do y'all more, but I used to be a teacher, but you guys, like, I feel like more salary, more, it's like, yeah.
Thank you. One, I think you're right. Can't do this without our teachers, and we need the best of the best, right? We need the best of the best, and we have some great ones here, and we have to maintain them. And because they, what I've learned is that if our teachers don't feel appreciated, they'll leave.
And we see that in the data. They're leaving in like, if as like a global talent force, they have so many skills coming in the door. If I was another company, I would be offering teachers 6 figures like I would offer anyone else. And so and to answer sort of the second, like the district has to think about this as a global competitive talent force. Teachers need to be paid 6 figures, or that's just my proposal. I don't know how close we are to that, but I think as much dollars, that you're doing, Principal Garner, to do that, I think it's just smart. You're just going to continue to attract great talent.
We need you to get to the state capitol, and when they're when they're doing their budgets, then we need to get in their ear and say, we need more in this education budget.
Yeah, the data is like tripping them up. They see it. More teachers are leaving, and the reason is like very simple to understand. It's like you can't expect, like you said, everyone wears so many different hats. In any other corporation, you would pay bonuses for that. And so to think that we shouldn't pay bonuses because we're teaching and doing the most important work is just sort of like non-common sense to me. But so I'm happy to see like where any given chance that you get, Principal Garner, you're pushing money towards the teacher. So I think that's like a great start.
Thank you, Joyce. We appreciate it. Okay. All right. Any questions or comments, guys? All right. All right, the Go Team. Oh, back to you, Ms. Smith.
It's still going to be you.
Okay. The Go Team needs to take action, vote on the presented budget. After the motion and a second, the Go Team may have additional discussion. Once discussion is concluded, the Go Team will vote. All right, so do we need to vote before we do okay. So, Ms. Smith, I turn it over to you for the vote.
Do I have a motion to approve the budget for the 2024-2025 school year?
Motion to approve.
May I have a second?
I second it. Sonia Lewis, I second it.
Thank you. We will now move on to the information item, which is the principal's report.
More than us two, or just two? Do you need the whole group to say aye?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Yes. If there are no further corrections, may I have a motion to approve?
Aye.
Let's do the second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Okay.
So we're good. The budget is approved. All right, good. Thank you, team. Mr. Kobe, are we missing anything?
Not with the budget. You took a vote, got a majority of approvals, so your budget's passed. Now you just got to finish the meeting.
Got it. All right. What's next, Ms. Smith?
The survey.
Okay. So, the district is providing an additional $45,000 to schools for security grants. I mean, through a security grant. So would like for you to take this survey and tell us how you feel those funds should be dispersed.
Principal Gardner,
Yes, ma'am.
it's our understanding from operations that they only want one survey per Go team submitted. So they would like the principals to open the survey and go through the options with their Go team and submit that. So
Got it.
thank you.
All right. Oh, good. Ms. KP, got it. Thank you for that. All right. So here it is, guys. It says the state of Georgia Department of Education is considering an additional grant to enhance security in schools statewide. The grant, if approved by the General Assembly, will provide each school with $45,000 annually. We're interested in understanding how you and your community would enhance security in your school with this resource. You know, this is a big issue for us. Below is a list of options you may want to consider. Before choosing an option, meet with your Go team and receive input on the best option that will enhance security at your school. Please feel free to use the other section provided below to share other security measures you and your Go team came up with that's not listed below. Please contact Ralph Velez, Senior Director of Security Operations, with additional questions, and that's his number. So can we do it live right here, Ms. Kirkpatrick? Choose Maze. Okay. Yep. All right. So school resource officer is one way. Annual salary plus benefits is $100,000 per year in the school's budget. School's budget will be responsible for covering the entire cost in subsequent years. This option comes with a high degree of risk. Metro Atlanta Police Departments for the past 2 years have struggled to fill large numbers of police vacancies. We cannot guarantee your SRO position will be filled. APS currently has 30 middle school and high school SRO vacancies. Wow. If you choose the SRO option, the district cannot guarantee a position will be filled. Your community should be advised. If you choose this option, the SRO will be managed by the district's police department. Once an SRO is hired, your school budget will be responsible for that SRO's salary and benefits per year over year, unless there's a vacancy somewhere else in the district to reassign the officer. Share an SRO with another school. And again, it talks about the salary. This option comes with a high risk of degree. And so it's the same thing that they just said at the top. We can add ballistic film to windows. The cost for that is it says 215 square feet of window area will cost $44,000. Fencing, addition to the exterior lighting, student ID systems, additional badge readers, additional interior and exterior cameras, non-instructional security aid, two-way radios, window coverings and blinds, additional metal detectors, clear book bags for students or other. So, looking at this, let's discuss. What do you guys think?
And
Can I say
ballistic,
something?
Yes.
Okay, so as a student, we've been trying to get, since I've been at Mays, we've been trying to get, like, I think personally, all the options are good options to me, but I feel like student IDs would help a lot. it would help with like in the morning when you guys are like when everybody's checking our bag. I feel like student ID systems would help APS. Like I don't know how to say it without rambling, but I think student IDs is a good way to implement security into the school. It keeps students that's been put out of school, students that's been suspended, and etc. It keeps them out of the school, coming in, things of that nature. And I just feel like it's a good way to identify students because there can't be three resource officers, one principal, and 3 APs trying to keep track of 3,000 students. It's not applicable. Whatever the word is, it's not. I don't think it's a good way to try and keep everything intact. So I think student IDs would be a good way to start and a good thing to implement in the APS. That's my opinion as a student.
Noted. Thank you, Tamar. Appreciate it.
Tamar, follow-up question. Do you see like an influx of like external students or strangers where people would need to ID, or you're saying like there should be like a maze tag, people should be able to, like a license, like show me your permit? Is it something where you feel like external students are coming in, or something where you feel like when you go to games or anywhere in APS, it's just something good to like have on you? Like what would you feel like the benefit of it?
I think, okay, so there are no students that just come into Maze all the time that don't go to Maze. That's not what I was saying. What I was saying was, like, even when I came in 5th grade after virtual, they had started a process of student ID. But my whole thing is, what's the point of student IDs if we never use them? So like you said, I guess like going into games and stuff like that, it would be, I think if APS had, student IDs to where every school had, if you wanted to go into, say if I wanted to go to Darrell and they have high security, let me see your school ID. I can show them my school ID to let them know, like, hey, I'm a student of APS. For my school, like, I feel like it would be a better and more quicker way to get students into the school, rather than, when we're getting our bags checked. I feel like student IDs is a good way to like decrease time checks in the morning, and a good way to just make sure that what's been happening doesn't happen again, so that it's easy to, I guess, identify students. We don't have to have all these questions of, we don't even know if those students went to Maze, that, and the third. I just think it's just a good way to just identify students within APS. If that makes sense. I don't know if I was just talking in circles.
No, it does make sense. And I was just trying to because it makes, in my mind, I always thought you guys had student IDs. I didn't know that there weren't student IDs. We always had them. I didn't know that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, our music teacher, our chorus teacher, her name is Miss Penn, and she does most of making them, but it's kind of just her doing it. So it's like, I feel like if APS implemented a system where it could be where everybody just go get their student IDs, you walk in your school, somebody can check the IDs, or there could be a system where, if I need to get in the school, I have my student ID, I can badge it in, and I don't have to, they don't have to think, well, where are you going? Where are you coming from? Are you a student here? Because I'm very active in my school, so it's like I have an internship, so I leave. But if I have something after school to do, I have to come back up there. I don't want anybody to look at me like, oh, are you a stranger? This, that, and the third, which they won't do because they know who I am. But still, that's an example.
Thank you for sharing.
Yep. Good example.
So
What?
I'm sorry. My thoughts, I like the idea of the student IDs. To what you were saying, Tamar, I don't think that it can alleviate the bag checking, but it will help us to identify who's who more quickly. I think along with that, we can choose more than one, right? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
we just have to be able to sustain, right? That's the key.
So operations is asking for you to rank them. So if you see the little 6 dots to the right, Principal Gart, yeah, you can move them up and down. So.
Oh, got it. Thank you, Ms. Jacoby.
You're welcome.
So I would say for me personally, I think number one would probably be additional metal detectors. That would probably be number one. Number two would be non-instructional security aid for me, just because it will provide more people by the doors. But because we already have some people, but I think if we had additional bodies to be at all of the doors, that will cut out a lot of issues as well. And then definitely student IDs. I mean, we already do clear book bags or mixed book bags, so the rest of it can kind of go as is. But for me, I'm thinking, um, oh Lord, I've forgotten the list left. Um, the additional person, the additional metal detectors, and then the additional, in the student IDs.
Got it.
Do people bring a lot of weapons in schools? This is me speaking from like, okay.
No, I mean, I think that, we've had an incident for sure, but in APS, because we have the metal detectors, I think that it helps us a lot. So knock on wood, we haven't had a gun in the school that I know of, because we have these evolve systems that are really, really high tech. But we do need another one on the other side, which we are supposed to be getting that. And our process for allowing students in every morning is, pretty thorough. Like, every kid has to go through the system on metal detector, and their bags. If it's not clear mesh, we go through their bags and check. But it can always be enhanced, right? So some of the things Tamar said, definitely, I think about, visiting other schools or going to games and things of that nature, and having student ID could be beneficial.
I got knocked off. I'm sorry. I apologize for speaking out now, but I'm just coming back in. So tomorrow was when I got kicked out. Can you all kind of go back over that? Where are we now? I'm sorry.
You just want to know your opinion and rank the different suggestions for how we could use the $45,000 grant for security. So they gave us some options, and they're on the screen for how we might want to use those funds.
Okay. So I don't know if everybody kind of spoke yet. Have they?
It's on you, Ms. Mill.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I don't see what I was thinking on here, and it probably would be more than $45,000. It may be something for the future. I see other down here, so I'm going to talk about the other. And the reason I'm speaking other is because I live in the community. One of the things is that, to me, anybody shouldn't be able to just come up on our property. When you come through those gates, you're on May's property. Mm-hmm. A lot of things that has happened in our school since I've been there, and even when I was at another school that's structure, and it was South Atlanta, similar to this, things happen down the hill. People came in and invaded our privacy on the Mays campus, where it was either children or adults. And I just think that and all the above is important, but I just think that there should be some type of at the front of that gate. I don't know how we would do it, but people shouldn't be able to just drive their car. I've seen things on the weekend that shouldn't be, and just come up on our campus and just do what they, feel like, coming all the way up. That's too close to me for you to be to our students. When you up in my parking lot and you're not a parent, you don't have any business, you're not someone dropping off a packet. You got to look at the, I guess we don't have the money like that young lady was talking about. The big build companies, you don't come up on their property. And our children, to me, are more important than things. And I'm sure everybody in here believes the same thing. The protection should start at the gate. That's just what I think. And I had, like I said, I live in the community. So at one point I used to walk at Greenbrier, but I had to go downstairs. I don't know if they're still doing it, and show my ID even to walk on the inside before they opened the mall. And they gave me a badge to wear. It's just because I don't want to stop the walkers, because I too walk, up and down the hills. And I know that's part of the community And so just things like that, I think we would stop a lot if we stopped you before you got on our property. That's just what I believe. But it's a other, and that may be something that later, I don't think $45 would pay, $1,000 would pay for that. But, you know, just going forward, when you're looking at our children are on that campus, when they're down in the baseball, football, whatever, no one should be on that campus that's maybe, you know, armed, hurting our kids or ourselves. That's me.
I
Thank you.
agree. Ms. Lewis, I agree. And that's something that, you know, I was telling staff today, you know, in these security meetings that we've been having, that's something that I did submit a capital gains, or I forget what the form is. I have submitted that today, but I do want, you know, that's something that we all need to be speaking to. And when we get, you know, in front of our district officials, talking about how we can secure our school, even at the entrance and the exits, right? And having some security there so we know who's coming on our campus, because right now we're vulnerable. Ms. Brown?
Hello, everybody. So first of all, let me take a moment and say that all the feedback has been excellent and actually right on point with what I was thinking as well, Miss Lewis and Tamar, and also Miss Smith. I was wondering if we could get more non-instructional security aid because we have those vulnerable places in our large building. Another thing that I would like is the additional metal detectors, but not just the standard ones. I guess I'm a little bit spoiled with the ones up front versus the ones in the back. You know, they have to do so many things to make sure they're up and running. They're kind of, you know, so if we could get more updated metal detectors, I would love that we have metal detectors at all of our entrances. But then again, we're talking $45,000. So if we could have some instructional aid posted, you know, in the halls where those doors are open by the students, I think that would be really great to have. Or outside the fishbowl, the zigzag, out inside the fishbowl. You know, the vulnerable areas that we have where we don't have enough staff to just stay stationed there. I do know that one time we had allied security outside, have people posted at places. And although they sent an interesting group of people, very young and whatnot, I don't know if you can ask for a particular age range or anything. It was a little bit a better feeling to know that, you know, doors weren't just being open. Then the student ID systems and the badge readers are great ideas because they record the comings and goings. If we can even add the student IDs are big because there are times when I see a student. Now, I'm not afraid to follow a student and ask a student, start a conversation and ask, wait a minute, what grade you in? I've never seen you before or what have you, but there are a lot of people that staff and students alike that, you know, wouldn't want to go and approach a student. So if we could find a way to incentivize students wearing their badges or mandate it or whatever the case may be, I think that would be a huge win for us. So we can at least know for sure who's in our building, when they're supposed to be there and that kind of thing. And then the badge readers would also be helpful, especially if there's a level 4, even students to have some access or non-access with the badge readers, like maybe the athletes, since they're often caught outside or not doing what they're supposed to do. I'm supposed to have practice. If they had access at a certain time set for their badges, like teachers have certain times and admin have certain times. So those are just some ideas. Don't know. And just one question: is the 45,000 you said that's a one time or that's annual?
Go back up to the top. It says annually, but it's a grant, so it's
You have to write for it, or if
and
approved.
yeah, it says annually if it's
If
approved.
approved. Okay. Well, I think those are great ideas everyone's already given, and they seem to be aligned with everyone what they've said so far. So
how do we rank these guys? Because we need to rank. So right now, is everybody in agreement? The student ID systems or the security booths would be first? Or do we like this? What do we? Let's
I
have
would
some-
move the security booths to number one, or even the non-instructional aid. I wouldn't put student ID systems first. That's just my thought.
Okay.
My thought is instructional aid, non-instructional aid, security aid first, because that's something that doesn't necessarily have to be expensive and can be done very quickly. I love the rest, but that's quick fix.
Okay.
We don't need bulletproof
I'm-
windows, do
I'm
we?
sorry.
Now, the
I'm
non-instructional,
sorry, Adam. I'm sorry, repeat that. I apologize. I'm mobile. So you put what in the front? Because it's I'm back small again. What's the first one you just put up at front? The first one we changed it to?
I don't know if, and this is, I don't want to, the non-instructional aid, right? We have quite a few. And when you say the fishbowl area, remember they've added the district has added an additional person to hold that area down for us. Then they're using they're using a crossing guard, non-instructional aid with a person with a vest that's outside every day. So I don't know if we would use it to add another one. But we will be adding another one anyway, because remember we lost one on 10th grade hall, so we'll be adding another one that's in our budget. So I just want to put that out there.
So we can move that one down, technically, because I mean, I wouldn't know that we already had several. So
Okay.
is that what we're saying?
Oh, not that far down.
Yes. Just move.
Because wouldn't the entry security booths, if we're trying to account for cost, be sort of like the security aid? And for me, security aid, I'm thinking like, why don't we have retired vets? We have so many veterans that are just like looking for things to do. Why can't they hire the vet to be at the external gates and sort of like monitor more consistently to kind of feed one through 3 that we listed? That's like another thing we can email them. But are you guys considering the security aid to be those in the booths, the security booths, or that's like another thing?
We're trying to add actual booths, and they'll have to be manned by, I mean, I think, if we are able to get those and retired vets are interested, then, they apply and they could, get a
I see.
position like that, right?
I see. So the actual booths itself is the budget to create the booths where people are. I got it.
And we would
Okay.
staff it with 2 non-instructional aid or 2, we would use 2 individuals like that to man that, right?
So
And make
would
sure
that be above badge readers?
Right.
If you're asking my opinion, I think so, because that way I know before they get to the top of the hill,
Yes.
what you're here for. So we can have a system in place where
Exactly.
all parents
Exactly.
who are, parents of our school decals, right? So when they're coming up to pick their child up, it's kind of like when you go pick your kid up from gymnastics, right? You have to have a decal on the car, or, something that says, I'm here to pick up a May student. Also, all of our kids who drive to school, now
They
we're
have their badges.
catching, right, you got a decal. Now we're catching anybody
Exactly.
walking up on campus.
Yeah.
Like, what are you here for? Is somebody right there questioning you and asking for your ID before you can even, get on the property good. And if there's a problem, and we have 3 officers up here already who can be waiting on that individual if they decided to go past our security.
So where would you rank that,
Exactly.
Principal Garner? It would 5 go up
Number-
to?
I would rank it as the security boost first. I will put the student ID system second. The only reason I'm not adding the metal detectors is because we're supposed to have another one coming from Chief. So if that's happening, then we wouldn't need to spend those funds on that. We would have what we need. Yep. They've already added an additional SRO that we get to keep. That's already in our budget. So we went from 2 to 3. So we
So
are
4, 6, and 7 should go down.
right. We already doing the clear book bag, so that can stay at the bottom. We already have radios. We have added additional cameras since the incident has taken place. And I did add lighting. Lighting needs to move up because when it gets dark,
Yes, definitely.
back,
Definitely.
for us to get dark earlier, we need to be able to light. And especially after basketball games and things of that nature, we need to be able to see who's in the parking lot. So our lighting system needs to be upgraded. But
Definitely.
I will actually move lighting ahead of non-instructional aid. Yeah.
Exactly. Definitely. Definitely. I'm there at night. It's definitely need to be lit up.
So
Fencing coverage.
Question.
yes.
Maybe we only get to put one other. Is that correct? Or can we make room for another other?
Semicolon.
The reason I ask is because sometimes we're running the cameras back trying to get clear shots and whatnot. We have obstructions such as trees. Is it possible we could get like some trees trimmed in like crucial camera areas that are blocking viewpoints or things like that? Or is that not?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we know that, we don't have to, we just tell maintenance. Like if you know some right now, that's something we can put on that radar tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, I know we had been trying to get a couple of trees down. They were saying it's beyond the school, but I can.
Tell me what you're talking about, yeah.
So, yeah, I can tell you.
Okay.
You meant now or later?
Tell me tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you just want to share with the group now, I don't want to.
No, I mean just trees, tall trees, like especially out front coming out in the foyer. I guess that's what you call it, the walkway into the building. There's a tree that's right there when it's in full bloom. It tends to cut off who's coming in, or if there's a physical altercation or something, we're trying to ID students or whatever. It's hard to see it because the tree's in the way.
We need to trim it. Got it. Show me which tree and we'll get Harmon on that.
Copy.
Tomorrow. This is how I would rank these, though. Do we have any?
Would you keep 6 where it is and 7 where it is and 8? So I think those are the only 3 that we didn't discuss.
I mean, maybe the ballistic film in front of the school, but if you can't predict, if you can't do, you have $45,000, you can't do it all the windows, right? You wouldn't be able to predict where as a shooter, the front has a lot of windows, but the cafeteria area does too. The back of the school also has, a lot of windows as well, classrooms, so it's how do you decide what area if you're not going to do the entire thing? And maybe that's something, if districts have to get, I think we really have to start thinking that way. Like, how do we, not just one school, $45,000 wouldn't do it. So if we need ballistic film, how do we do that school-wide, district wide, to make sure all the schools have the same level of protection? That would be a lot of funding. So that would be my comment on that. The window coverings are things that, we have or teachers can use to, teachers are creative with covering their windows. And now we've been asked to do that. So a lot of teachers have little curtains or ways that they cover their windows in their rooms. And then, we already have fencing. Now some of it needs to be fixed because we do have wildlife, deers and things of that nature that are, in that wooded area but I don't think we need any additional fencing just around the campus. And like I said, we've added cameras. I think we have everywhere pretty much covered as it relates to cameras. But if we did need more, this is the time to ask. But I think the biggest bang for our buck, if we can get it, would be those like security booths and being able to manage and know who's on our campus. We know when they get to the building. We have Mr. Julian watching cameras all day, you know, but it is that area where we can't see, and that's down the hill. Who's driving up here every day? Who's coming here? There needs to be a deterrent, in my opinion. For, you know, you just shouldn't be able to just come on the property. You need to know. In these days and times, unfortunately.
Amen.
Quick question. Do we have I know we don't have wood shop anymore and all those kind of things, but do we have any specialties in the building we can make a little stop area or whatnot? Because it doesn't have to necessarily be so fancy. We just need an area and something to stop the students. I mean, or the cars. You're trying to stop the cars before they come up, or right?
I'm trying to stop, yes.
Each car.
Right. Not during, so that's why we would have badges, right? I mean, not badges, but decals.
Decals. Okay.
For parents who pick their kids up, then we won't have to stop you. But after we settle down in the mornings, after arrival, and once we're here teaching, we have no idea who's walking on our campus, right? Either through the entrance or the exit, because it's a U shape. So, you know, sometimes when we have fire drills and things of that nature, or a bomb threat, and we have to walk down the hill, right? It's easy to come and blend in because you got 1,000 kids outside at one time. So if I got bad news or bad intentions, then I know I can time it and I can walk up to Mays High School around 3:45 and blend in, right?
Right.
But so I'm thinking, or during the school day, what about at 10 a.m. when everybody's at school and all of our attention is what's happening in the school? We don't know who is entering our campus. These security booths with armed individuals, 2 people, 1 booth at the entrance, 1 at the exit, right? With a person that's there with a vest that is, how you doing today? Welcome to Mays High School. How can we help you? Right.
Right.
Then that way we know who's coming, who's going. And we can inform, you know, at the top of the hill, I got so-and-so coming for early dismissal, or I have this person coming, or this person just drove up the hill and we don't know. That way we can address those matters and not be blindsided.
Yeah, I love that. I was just wondering, did you want something to stop a car? If you know, like in the apartment buildings had a little arm, you're not doing that, just the building, right? Just a little shed type deal, right?
Right. We're talking about, yeah, and it'll be something that, you know, I've sent the request up, so I don't know how they'll design it, or what they'll do, or even if they will approve it. But I think if this is something that our community is asking for and we're consistently asking for, I think it's something we may have a chance to get.
It's just the time we're living in. Since I've been at Mays, one time before, there was a shooting in the parking lot, and we, you know, it was something from the community. People waiting in the parking lot just shooting, had nothing to do with us. So my thing is, they had no business even been on our campus. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
If we had somebody at the gate, they wouldn't have been able to get that far up shooting, and our kids out there, and a stray bullet could have shot one of our kids. And it's a neighborhood thing, or somebody that's just rushing through the neighborhood, if that makes sense. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So that's good, Mr. Garner. I'm glad we're on top of these things. What seems to be bad sometimes kind of just open our eyes. We need to be proactive and not reactive, but we got to do all that we can that makes sense. I mean, CENTS and SENSE to help and protect our community and our students.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Jacoby, do we need to like officially vote, or can everyone, do we need to go through the
You can just ask if there's any more questions or comments, and you know, if everybody's okay with this.
Okay, what Ms. Jacoby said, are there any more questions, comments, or is everyone okay with the ranking?
The ranking looks good. Can you scroll up so I can take the email of the guy down? Because I think they should, there's like, we can connect them with the vets. The vets are all the what you were saying, hoorah, Principal Garner. We have some vets that are like, wait, they want to protect, they want to help, they want to use the skills that they've learned. So I think that can save them money. I'm gonna email this guy.
And maybe in your email reference the security boost for Maze. I think that'll help.
All right. We can move to the next part. Thank you, Ms. Kirkpatrick. We will now move on to the information items. Mr. Garner, do you have a principal's report?
I don't have a lot right now. I think we spoke about a lot of it today during staffing meeting, and that is, the questions that staff had about around security. We've taken the opportunity, the admin team, to send those responses to staff. So, it was things such as we do have additional staff now that's watching the fishbowl area every day. Mr. Julian is on the cameras every day. We have additional police officer that is now here and additional police support during arrival and dismissal. All staff have been trained on active shooter drills. We've also received training today on Centegics, which are our new white badges that allow teachers and staff to press the button 3 times if they have an emergency within the school and they need some support. But then also other precautions for what to do with those badges if we need full lockdown, which would not only be APS, but it would notify APD and other support systems to be able to come to our aid. Trying to make sure I didn't leave anything out. Oh, and we've also officially asked for the security booths that we are speaking about. We have our Sisterhood Summit that is happening in partnership with former Mayor Shirley Franklin, Andrea Boone, Mayor Dickens, and 100 Black men, 100 Black women of Atlanta for mentorship for our most at-risk students. That's happening. The Sisterhood Summit is happening this Thursday from 9:30 till noon. The Brotherhood Summit will be next Tuesday, the 19th, at the same time. So I'm really excited. We were able to speak to our most at-risk kids, not our kids who are, Google scholars or Georgia Tech scholars or, kids who are doing, seemingly things the right way, but our kids who may be having some issues, some challenges in courses, may not have the best attendance, discipline, and grades. We were able to meet with those kids and ask them, what do they want? What supports do they need? What do they want to hear? And they gave us a lot of feedback around some of the things they want to talk to. They want to know more about, like financial planning, or how do I get a CDL license? Or they want to know more about the military or becoming a mechanic. And so we've reached out to our partners, and they are bringing in experts in those areas to be able to mentor and meet with those students. So I'm excited about that. Also,
when is this? Sorry, when is this?
Sisterhood Summit is Thursday.
This Thursday.
This Thursday, yes. Andrea Boone and Mayor Franklin will open. We have about 160 girls who we identified.
Is it too late for partners?
No, never too late. I can connect you with Miss Morgan. We can get you here if you're interested.
Very.
But not just a one and done, right? So when I talk about opening up this den, or we won't call it the den, it's a safe center, student and family engagement center. I don't know what we're gonna call it yet. It's opportunities like this for those kids, right? And people like yourself, Rejoice, to be able to have a consistent mentorship with a girl or two. Because it does take a village. So we get everybody involved and everybody commits to doing it consistently, so that when some of our kids who may not have the guidance that they need, maybe that young man who decided to bring a weapon, if he had someone that he could check into, that could talk to him, maybe he could have made a different decision to help in his decision-making process. I can't help but think that. I believe that, and that's what we want to do. Rise Way. Oh, that's a consideration. What would Rise Way mean?
Well, since we have the RISE room and then we have a RISE for administrative detention, I was thinking maybe we want to keep in step with bringing our students up and elevating them. And so RISE is talking about restorative and implementing things that can help them get to where we want them to be in their thinking, in their academics, and in the way that they deal with their relationships. So yeah, obviously taking the RISE way, since we have RISE room, a RISE. And even though we didn't get stars off for Saturday school just yet, that also goes with stars, looking up, RISE, and it also is an acronym for moving our students forward to more interventive ways and also academic strength.
Got it. Definitely in the running. But that's all the announcements that I have, team. All right. Please. Oh,
Is that another announcement?
this is for the calendars, the different proposed calendars that the district has. You should have received some communication on this, but Ms. Jacoby, did they want us to do one as a team?
No, this is for individuals to do. Households, teachers, staff, all stakeholders can fill out this one. Students, let your voice be heard.
Right. Take a look at the calendars. I know one of the calendars proposes us probably starting the school year later, but then some of the intermittent breaks, the October week, the week in February would of course go away, because you would take those 2 weeks in the beginning. So take a look at the different options, and yeah, let your voice be heard. Most definitely. I've already completed mine, so make sure you get yours in. All right. Anybody need any more time to get that QR code? Go back one time. Yep. We have it. Hopefully, if anybody is on our YouTube page or watches this later, if you don't have it, then you have an opportunity to get it.
It's also on the district site.
Right. Same survey in Spanish. All right. All team members, remember to complete your required trainings, orientation, ethics, budget. And Ms. Jacoby, we're good as far as nominees, right? Nominees for upcoming elections.
I do not know off the top of my head, but if you were green the other day, you're probably still green today.
Got it. All right. And
hang on, I'll open, but I believe so.
yes. Complete the end of year surveys, go team self-assessment, and then principal feedback. All right.
Yeah, the file doesn't want to open for me. It's probably because I'm off site. So.
Okay. When I checked yesterday, we were green. So like you said.
And you're fine.
Okay. All right. Are there any additional questions?
All right, any additional announcements? All right, we have reached the end of our agenda. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
I second it. I second it. This is Ms. Lewis.
Got you, Ms. Lewis. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Any abstentions, please raise your hand. All right, the meeting is adjourned. Have a great evening, everyone.